My absolute favorite thing in the world is going to the movies, which is why I love what I do for a living. Now, despite what the summer blockbuster season might have suggested, there were so many wonderful reasons to go to the movie theater this year and eat a medically inadvisable amount of popcorn, which I did. Now, to celebrate the best of the best this year, I polled the Nerdist.com staff to come up with our favorite films of 2016. So here we go, the best movies of the year. La La Land. Writer-director Damien Chazelle's jazz-drumming thriller Whiplash was my favorite movie of 2014, so it makes sense that his follow-up La La Land would be one of my favorites of 2016. Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone are absolutely breathtaking as a pair of struggling artists trying to hack out a living in the City of Angels. Now, this movie is like a love letter to old Hollywood movie musicals, but it never feels like an imitation. Rather, it's its own uniquely bittersweet treat. It dances to the beat of its own dreamy drum, and that's something that even J.K. Simmons would agree to. Moonlight. Being at the premiere of this movie at the Toronto International Film Festival is one of my favorite moments of the year, film-going or otherwise. Director Barry Jenkins' Moonlight is a hauntingly beautiful story of Chiron, a gay black boy whose life is told over 3 parts: as a neglected child, as a troubled teenager, and as a wayward adult. It's him trying to find himself in the mean streets of Miami. And trying to figure out who you are can be hard enough, but once you add in a deeply dysfunctional home life, questions of sexuality, in a city rocked by a drug epidemic, the task seems damn near Sisyphean. The acting is outstanding in this movie across the board, but especially so from Moneypenny herself, Naomi Harris, and Luke Cage star Mahershala Ali, who deserves not a crown of gold, but an Oscar for his work here. Manchester by the Sea. 'Tis the season to be jolly, but the best movies of the year are all racked with this sort of intangible grief. And that's exactly what happens in Kenneth Lonergan's Manchester by the Sea. It's a gripping story of a Boston-area custodian played by Casey Affleck, who in the wake of his brother's sudden death is forced to return to his hometown and take care of his nephew, played by Lucas Hedges. You'll laugh, you'll cry some more, your tear ducts will dry out, then your body will produce more moisture, and you'll cry again. Nocturnal Animals. Tom Ford's second film is a sexy, stylish fever dream of a thriller about 2 people desperately trying to escape their past. It's like an emotional autopsy of a dead relationship. Amy Adams plays a disaffected art dealer who reads a novel manuscript sent by her ex-husband, played by Jake Gyllenhaal. Now, as she reads, we see scenes from this violent horror show of a story play out on screen. The more she reads, though, the more disturbing the story gets, until the tension threatens to give you heart palpitations. Honestly, this movie feels like Hitchcock in a bespoke suit, anchored by an absolutely tremendous cast, including Michael Shannon giving a legendary performance and sporting an even more legendary mustache. So do as the title suggests, and make sure you don't sleep on this one. Deadpool. Whether or not you're experiencing superhero fatigue, you have to admit there was something special about Deadpool. After a decade in development, Marvel's Merc with the Mouth finally got his day in the sun, and the results were a raunchy, blood-soaked, constantly wisecracking delight. By sticking to their guns and taking a smaller budget, Ryan Reynolds and director Tim Miller showed that an R-rated Marvel movie that breaks the fourth wall and skewers everything from superhero movies to unsuspecting goons was exactly what we needed to keep things from getting stale. You know, that old chestnut. That old, hey, if we're getting 6 superhero movies a year, the least they can do is show Colossus vomiting and creepy baby hands chestnut. Jackie. Just when you think you know everything there is to know about JFK, Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, and that fateful day in November 1963, Pablo Larraín comes along with this mesmerizing movie that takes place in the days following JFK's assassination, and it's all about the former First Lady. Natalie Portman is a freaking acting machine as Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, shifting from plaintive sorrow to fulminating rage in the blink of an eye. And if you're like me, you'll wonder what the hell Natalie Portman's doing with her voice. Then you're gonna Google old clips of Jackie O and realize just how scary good this film is. Weiner. On paper, the idea of a film about a congressman who just can't stop ruining his life by sexting seems like an absolute nightmare, but Weiner plays out like a Greek tragedy. A Greek tragedy full of dick pics, but a Greek tragedy nonetheless. The filmmakers give audiences an unprecedented look inside the life of former Congressman Anthony Weiner as he recovers from his first sexting scandal and makes a bid to become the mayor of New York City. Can he get out of his own way, or will Carlos Danger come out to play? Now, even if you know the answer, you need to see this film to find out how and why. It's like watching a car crash where the driver's sending nudes even as he's flying through the windshield. It's insane. The Witch. Wouldst thou like to live deliciously? With those 6 words, a new cinematic icon was forged, and the legend of Black Phillip was born. Fear of the unknown and paranoia about devils in our midst are the true terrors in Robert Eggers' story of 17th century frontier life in New England. The film constantly keeps you off balance, wondering whether witches are real or if they're just specters conjured by overactive and overly religious imaginations. The tension keeps building and building and building until you feel like your heart might explode, and then we finally get our answers, and your skin begins to crawl all over again. So long story short, if you dug Hocus Pocus, you might like this too. The Edge of 17. The art of the teen comedy feels like something that's been lost to the sands of time. The days of John Hughes have long since passed, and the genre has been extremely hit or miss since then. That is until Kelly Freeman Craig's debut feature film, The Edge of 17. This is savagely funny while still managing to evoke the extreme discomfort and self-doubt that comes with navigating the swirling eddies of raging teen hormones that you experience in high school. Oh, just me? Okay, fine. Chances are you'll see yourself in Haley Steinfeld's fiery Nadine, and if you don't, then, I don't know, man, maybe you're just a cool-ass jock, dunking footballs and just drizzling baseball sauce on your frickin' basketball stakes. Come on, man. Hey, I played lacrosse, that was pretty cool. Arrival. Finally, a sci-fi movie that doesn't treat its audience like absolute morons. Director Denis Villeneuve's Arrival, based on a short story by Ted Chiang, is an alien invasion story more concerned with communication than with annihilation and things like blowing up the White House. Amy Adams delivers another tremendous performance as a linguist who's desperately trying to prevent first contact from turning into mutually assured destruction. With a haunting score, breathtaking visuals, and possibly the best twists of the year, Arrival is a quintessential example of what modern sci-fi should strive to be. And if you didn't like it, hey, at least we got Independence Day resurgence. 10 Cloverfield Lane. Be honest, did you expect to see a spiritual successor to Cloverfield in 2016? And did you expect it to star John Goodman in one of his most memorable and unnerving performances? Well, if you said yes, then I'm calling bullshit. Unless you happen to be J.J. Abrams. And if you are J.J. Abrams, then hi J.J., cool glasses. But in all seriousness, 10 Cloverfield Lane was one of the year's best surprises. And honestly, one of its most stressful. And hey, aren't those the best surprises? Like when you open a thing expecting peanut brittle, but then snakes pop out, and you think that's it, but then real snakes pop out? Wow, color me surprised. And those, my friends, are the best films we saw in 2016. Now, obviously, there were tons, and I mean tons, that almost made the list but didn't, so tell me, what were your favorite films of the year? Let me know in the comments below and give me an Oscar-worthy thumbs up. Be sure to like and subscribe or else you might miss next week's show when we talk about the story of a man who winds up with a suitcase full of drug money and gets hunted down by a cursed prince, a girl accompanied by giant wolves, and Javier Bardem with a dumbass haircut in Princess Mono No Country for Old Men. Until next time, keep on digging. Let's open up the old mailbag, shall we? @Sohedra asks, why are aliens more times than not without clothes? Did they skip the tech advancement, or is nudism the future? Well, aliens have no shame. That's a human construct. They don't feel embarrassed by their wieners flapping in the breeze. Plus, who actually likes wearing pants? I mean, we just do it out of obligation. Aliens get it. @EricSchumann87 asks, what wine goes best with grilled cheese? Well, I like something a bit fuller body that'll complement the richness of the grilled cheese. So I recommend the Crusher Cabernet Sauvignon. It's relatively affordable and very, very sippable. And remember, please drink and melt cheese responsibly. @Saint Sagepath asks, if you found that you would permanently transform into any creature by eating it, what would you do? You'd keep your intellect. Alright, this might not be a popular answer, but I would eat a golden retriever and use my superior intellect and adorable every dog charisma to become the star of the newly rebooted Air Bud franchise. But tell me, what creature would you eat? Let me know in the comments below and I'll see you guys next time.